Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Sunday celebration of Spirit here at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Please take this opportunity to turn off any electronic device in your possession so it will not interrupt the sacred space that we are creating today. Then take a second and say hi to your neighbor. We here at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, our chatty bunch, right? We honor you wherever you are on your spiritual path, knowing that there are infinite paths too, but indeed only one God. The word to this morning's chant will be up here on the wall, followed by a spiritual mind treatment by our own Reverend Karyl Huntley.
I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. Send my love into the heaven, and it returns to me. Peace. I send my peace over the mountain. I send my peace over the seas. I send my peace into the heaven, and it returns to me. Power. I send my power over the mountain. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heaven, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountain. I send my joy over the seas. I send my joy into the heaven, and it returns to me. Love. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heaven, and it returns to me. A thousandfold.
Good morning. Kalimera. That's good morning in Greek. Kalimera. Kalimera. And yasas is hi. Yasas. So that's, I know a few more words, but so I just returned from Greece, and so if actually yesterday at about 2 a.m. So if I lapse into a jet lag and I can't remember a word, you'll forgive me.
We'll just
But
call it a dream state. You'll
there
be
you
fine.
go. But I remember how to pray. So if you would join me within, remembering, as I do in this moment, that the infinite presence throughout all time, every place, worshipped by many, many names, is all there is. The energy and the self-givingness of life itself to life happens all the time, everywhere. And right now, it is happening here, in me, and in everyone here. And so, in this moment, I claim for each person here that love and peace and power and joy that we sang about. And I claim that the sending of it really does bless the world. I remember that in Greece and in Ukraine, our sister community, right now it is 6 p.m. People are finishing their workday. And so sending our love and peace, power and joy to those people now, and to anyone else that you know around the world, is not only possible, but by the very thought of it, it is happening. And so our blessing, our love, that energy that is generated through our heart, I send my love right now, everywhere. And it comes back to me. And so however it is that anyone wants that love to come back, as abundance or as peace, as joy, as creativity, as solutions, as information, not only is that possible, but I claim that it happens today in perfect ways for the good of all and the harm of none. I send this word into the divine law, and it comes back to me, answered. And so it is. Amen. So, good morning. Welcome once again. For those of you that I don't know, I really want to know. But right now, I want to introduce you to our wonderful guest artist this morning, Family All, Bodhi and Stephen Meese. So please welcome Sechko and Meese.
Hey, thank you. Isn't this wonderful weather? I love it. Of course, I was walking in the creek all day yesterday. Okay. In honor of Living Wide Open, I'm going to sing a song about swimming with dolphins. Is that Living Wide Open in anybody else's mind besides mine? Right, Bodie, my man. Every day when I wake up, I ask myself where I want to be. Then I pray to the Great Spirit, and I ask her where I want to be. She says, fly with the dolphin, feel the freedom of the sea, and I want to laugh in the water, be the dance, dolphins and me. when I fly with the dolphin. I feel the joy, I feel the ecstasy, 'cause I am free and I am happy, and I know this is how it's meant to be. Oh yeah. When I fly with the dolphin, feel the freedom of the sea. I want to laugh in the water, be the dance, the dolphins and me. When I fly with the dolphin, or feel the freedom of the sea, I want to laugh in the water, be the dance, the dolphins and me. Oh, the dolphins and me, dolphins and me, dolphins and me, will be the dance, dolphins and me, dolphins and me, and you and we, and dolphins and me, and you and we, the dolphins and you and me and we. Gotta be free. Gotta be free. Gotta be free. Gotta be free. Take me to the islands.
In the summer days today. And I'm Michael Hart. I'm doing your announcements this morning, and we usually begin with gratitude. And so did you notice that Reverend Karyl was away the last 2 weeks? And did you notice how smoothly everything went? Even so, we missed her, but everything went so smoothly. So our gratitude today is for all of those volunteers and coordinators who helped everything go so smoothly while we were missing Reverend Karyl. Thank you. And the children today, their lesson is going to be being yourself, about being yourself. So I would just invite each of us to go inside for one moment and think of one quality of God that we are, whether it's love, clarity, power, guidance, joy, abundance, whatever it might be. Just think of one quality of God that you know you are, and let it be you. So, and now we have several things going on. You have a bulletin which has everything, and I'm going to talk about it more in it. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Silmar, which is our Science of Mind summer camp, which is coming up. It's a little earlier this year than usual. It's from July 28th to August 3rd, and you can sign up online. It's a wonderful summer retreat. And this year, as in the last couple of years, don't forget that we have now sort of combined two sub-denominations into one. So there will be 800 people coming together with wonderful speakers and workshops from dawn to midnight, great scenery and wonderful food. So you can go to Asilomar online to sign up for that. And there is still time to sign up for Reverend Karyl's summer class. The last of our summer classes is going to be letting go of negative emotions, and that's going to be just 3 Thursdays, a nice quick foray into letting go of what you need to let go of. And the sign-ups are on the education table over there. It starts a week from this Thursday. I think it's the 11th. And we're also going to be offering Quick Start next Sunday, July 7th. And this is a 3-hour love offering free class. Are we there? Okay. Well, I'll just talk loudly. Offering free class that Gail Durkin, our president, is going to be teaching. It's the fundamentals of our empowering positive philosophy, and if you've taken it before, you may want to take it again. It's radically different every time. It's a wonderful curriculum. And finally, today is our giving party day, our giving potlatch. So feel free to browse and take a gift, and many of us have brought gifts that we think are wonderful that we're ready to let go of. And whether or not you brought one, you're welcome to take one home. So have a look after the service, please. And now Reverend Karyl is going to give us a few announcements.
Each of you should have been given a little piece of paper that looks like this. Our theme for July is going to be increase. That follows the natural growing pattern that we are following this year. And in July, the tomatoes increase and the zucchini increase. And so our job is to use that energy to inform our spiritual work. And so I would like you to mark the 3 things that you want to increase in your life, and that will be the talks that I do in July based on what you want to increase. You can put these papers in the offering basket as that comes around. I want to tell you that the International Forgiveness Day is going to be on August 4th this year. And on the Saturday preceding that, August 3rd, Marianne Williamson will be doing a workshop. And you can either see Bob Plath, the amazing, immortal Bob Plath, and you can go online and buy tickets there. Lastly, I need to say something about the parking. The management here at the rec center has been getting, they've been looking at where you park your cars. And if you park them illegally, they will have something bad happen, like a ticket or towing or something like that. So you can't park by a hydrant. You can't park in the red zone. There is plenty of parking on the street and then around here by the tennis courts. So just another word to the wise, okay? Thank you very much. Welcome, dearly welcome to first-timers or people who haven't been here for a while or people who don't come regularly. Very, very glad to see you today. I'm happy to be back, really. Although I sure had a good time, and I have a lot of stories to tell you. So moving into the talk part of the service. Our theme for this year, as most of you know that have been here, is the new world and the ancient path. And so we take wisdom from the ancient path. We take wisdom from the new emerging sciences and discoveries and events of the current days, and we put them together to see how we can grow our own awareness and consciousness and heart in this world in today. So we're going through the calendar, and as most of you know, we passed the longest day of the year. The 21st of June was the summer solstice, and I hope you passed it with awareness and consciousness of how the light is showing up in your life. I have to say that I was absolutely, amazingly blessed to be on the Isle of Delos on the summer solstice, which happens to be in the ancient stories, the birthplace of Apollo, who is the god of the sun. And so to be on the holy Isle of Delos on the summer solstice, it was just amazing. So in June, reviewing with you the theme for June, it's when we tend our crops, it's when we pull out the weeds, it's when we fertilize, it's when we make sure that there aren't any bugs growing on our crops. And so we tend. And applying that theme to spiritual work, when we tend our spiritual work, we do spiritual practice. We do all kinds of spiritual practice, and what we have done this month is we've talked about prayer, we've talked about fellowship, we've talked about meditation. Last week, Dr. Lloyd, our founder, I hope he talked about weeding the garden of our mind. Yes, I heard that he was well received, and so blessings on you and him for that. And so today, the spiritual practice is giving, and the title of the talk, as Bodhi already told you, is Living Wide Open. So when we're living wide open, those channels for giving and receiving are activated to the capacity that we can stand. You know, it's the bliss tolerance that we can stand. That's how wide open it is. And when we reiterate our intention to live even more wide open, what happens is our bliss tolerance increases. And we have bigger avenues of receiving and giving, which is what is depicted in Sandra Aguirrebede's altar today. All of those spiritual qualities that we get to feel and see increase in our lives. So back to the trip to Greece. I want to encourage all of you to think about spending some of your supply in going on sacred journeys. Because I'm telling you, there is nothing that opens me up any more than being in a sacred site where people have prayed for 5,000 years or 10,000 years. We don't have that in this country. I mean, I imagine that if we went to a Native American site that had not been covered over with a parking lot, we could have that same feeling. But in Europe, there are many places where for 5,000 years there has just been prayer there. And there's something about that I would love it if every single one of you could do that. You know, it's not our practices necessarily, but it doesn't matter because it takes people to the same place. Like when I was on the Isle of Delos, there's a sacred path that had wonderful monuments and buildings and columns and statuary, and they still have these lions lined up in a row. And although we don't worship lions, they were a symbol for Apollo, and they're still there. The thing about Delos that was so amazing to me is that it was the first place that I know about where there was freedom of religion. This was a thriving center of commerce in addition to being a holy site. And there was a section that was for the Egyptians. There was a center for all of those people that 5,000 years ago, they were their own groups. They had their own shops, they had their own temples. And so we climbed up the mountain to this temple of Isis that still had a huge statue of Isis in it. And because it was kind of off the beaten path, you know, in the Parthenon, you can't go up and touch the stuff in the Parthenon anymore, but you can on Delos. And so it was pretty amazing to realize that on this island, everybody had their own religion, but because it was dedicated to Apollo, everybody celebrated Apollo one day of the year. Now, isn't that just great? You can have your own, you know, pantheon of Isis and Osiris and all of, if you're Egyptian, but then you get to celebrate Apollo too. It's kind of like, I don't know, you have, like when I was in grade school, we celebrated all the Christian holidays, but the Jewish kids got to celebrate the Christian holidays and the Jewish holidays. So it's kind of like that. It's a lovely thing. So the practice that we're talking about today is giving. And every time I talk about giving, I just want to remind you of this principle that giving is the activity of spirit. Everything that you see, from the sun to the planet herself, was given by the infinite presence. And when we replicate the activity of spirit, when we do what God does, what happens is we are in harmony with the nature of all reality. Let me say that again. When we do like God does, which is just give and give and give and give, we are in harmony with the reality of the entire cosmos. That's a good thing. You're really happy. I'm really happy when I am in harmony with the nature of all reality. And the converse is also true. If you withhold, if you are stingy in any way, and out of fear, I know that. It's not out of, being bad. It's out of fear that we withhold. Then we aren't in harmony with the universe. There's a reason that in every single abundance program, there is a lesson on forgiveness. And you wonder, well, what does forgiveness have to do with abundance? And it may not have anything directly to do with abundance, but if you are in an unforgiving state, you are withholding. You're withholding from somebody. You are in that experience of unforgiveness, and you can't hold in on some things and be expansive and living out loud and wide open everywhere else. If you're constricted, you're constricted. So that's why we strive in our spiritual work to do everything we can to get rid of negative emotions and fear and unforgiveness and control and all of those kinds of things. So, giving begets receiving, and withholding begets lack. So in the bulletin, the quote that Pat found is so perfect. The quote is usually on the back right here, and it always applies to the talk, but this one is like smack dab on. Life is an eternal givingness, the offering of the cosmic self to the joy of its own fulfillment. You are the joy of God's fulfillment. And God gives to you all the time. You and I are a part of this joy, and we find fulfillment only as this joy passes through us to others. Everything moves in circles. We short-circuit our own good when we refuse to pass it on. So, the principle today is, as you give, so shall you receive. So I have a couple of stories from the trip. One about generosity of spirit and one about control. And the story about generosity of spirit happens to be about my daughter. I've given you enough of her shortcomings in stories, so I thought I'd just give you one where she really, really did a great thing. So she was the youngest by about 3 decades of anybody on this trip. And she was completely generous of spirit. She was helpful. She was encouraging. She was comfortable in the flow. There were some things that were physically challenging on this trip, big hikes up hills and stuff, and she was so encouraging for everybody. And she had it in her mind that she wanted a job for the month of July in Greece. And she actually had turned up a job of picking potatoes in Corinth. Well, we drove through Corinth about halfway through the trip, and she looked out at these fields, and it was 100 degrees, and in the middle of the field was a little brown house. And she kind of said to herself, she was so generous of spirit, she didn't say to anybody, oh, I don't want to go there. But she kind of looked out at these fields and having no car or anything, and she thought, I want a better job. So when we went to the islands, she started asking around she would just go into shops and say, I'm a visiting student, I'd like to work here for a month. So about 11 o'clock one night, they are very late over there. About 11 o'clock one night, she goes into this dive shop because she's also interested in going diving the next day. They're closing up. They're turning out the lights. And she says, oh, by the way, do you need any help? And they go, oh, my God. There was an American girl who decided she was in love, and she just left. And we do need somebody. When can you start? And she says, well, I can start tomorrow. Well, they said, okay, well, we have to talk to the boss. So it worked out so perfectly that the next day that we were on Santorini, she was able to talk to the boss. And the next day, we left Santorini, and we left Melanie there. And so she is working in a dive shop, living in a bathing suit, talking to young people and to tourists, and being in the ocean 2 or 3 times a day. So that's about living in generosity. So there was a woman on the trip, and I asked her if I could tell this story. So Ev, good morning. I love you if you're watching. She said I could tell. She actually told this story on herself because she's way beyond it now. But she's somebody who, like many of us, deals with control. And she just, kind of has to get her hands in there and resist a little and then force a little. So she said, the perfect example of this is one time when I did a puzzle. I was doing a puzzle like on a workshop or something, and, like a picture puzzle where you fit the pieces. And I was with a group, but I said, I'll do the frame. A little bit of controlling there. So she said it was kind of a difficult puzzle. It was all kind of blue. It was a lot of sky and a lot of sea. But I finished the frame, and then I said, okay, you guys, you can fill it in. Well, what had happened was she had put the straight pieces together, but not in the right places. So there was no way that other people could finish the puzzle because she had forced the pieces of the frame. Not only that, no one could ever do the puzzle because she had ruined the pieces. So that is my story of ultimate control. I am going to fit this in, and I don't care who else it affects. And there it was, the frame that could never be filled in. So we want to give up control, and we want to live in generosity. So the nature of giving, this is my kind of definition of the nature of giving, is moving loving energy or the manifestation of that energy, like time, gifts, and supply, from you to other people. Okay? I'll say it again. Moving loving energy or the forms that it takes from you to other people, and there's one more thing, without any strings. So you give time, you give energy, you give supply, you give presence. That's why I love this, what we're doing today. There's some very nice things over there. And I want you to just feel how you feel about that, because I know that there are some people that are going to race over there to get the thing that they have their eye on because they don't want anybody else to have it. And just feel how you feel about that, because I loved providing something, and I know everybody else did, and I want you to love receiving whatever is yours, and if it's yours, nobody's going to take it until you get there. So when we develop a generosity of spirit, we create this habit of moving energy from us to other people. It becomes so natural, it becomes our default position. It's like if something is needed, we see if we can provide it. And we do that not out of any sense of wanting to control others with strings. We don't do that about any awareness of ourself that is, I have to give or nobody will love me. It's just that I love to give, and so that's what I'm doing. And it's easy to see in a foreign country, at least on the receiving end, when people are generous in that way, because when you're in Greece and you don't know the language, you need help with everything, from getting your dinner to getting directions. And I have a story about getting directions. I stayed a couple of days longer to make sure Melanie was okay, but she was okay before that. But anyway, so I was like on my own. And I was really in the boonies. I was on the marathon route, which is a ways away from Athens. So I needed to get into Athens. And so when you ask directions, many Greeks either give you general directions, they give directions in a hurried way that you can't understand, they give directions in a vague way, or they also want to appear like they know things that they don't know, so they tell you things that they're really not sure of. So I started on a set of these directions, and I got so lost. I had so far taken one bus and one metro, and I was so far away from anything that I had. And thank God there was this wonderful, generous man who did not speak English, but he drew me a map. He drew me a map, and he pointed, and he encouraged, and he went over it and over it and over it, because I was scared at this point. And he was with me without language until I got it and received the gift and went on my way and found my way to Athens. So I just want to reiterate that in the practice of giving, it involves connecting, it involves generosity, and it makes sure that the gift lands where you intend it to land. You know, it serves in the way that you want it to serve without any expectations. And so I got to see that that's how I appreciate receiving, and so that informs my giving. So when I give, I want to remember that I don't do it in a casual or hurried or vague way. I got a request before the service this morning that's an important request, and I don't want to give a hurried response. I want to think about it. And so I'm thinking about it. And I'll give that when I've got it clear within me. So it's kind of like the power of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is in every single tradition. And so it's kind of like that. It's when others have done to you the way you like it, then that's the way you do it. Okay? Okay. So, as I said, giving and receiving is connected because somebody gives and then somebody receives. It's this wonderful circular thing, as the quote said. Emerson said, "We are all inlets of the divine by our nature, but we have to choose to be the outlets. We have to choose to let that move through us," which I want all of us to do more of. So if we make a study of how the infinite gives, we have a model for that in every single culture, and we have that in the ancient Greek culture. There is a pantheon of 12 gods and goddesses that are the Olympians. They're there's many, 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 many gods and goddesses and nymphs and devas and all kinds of holy beings. But there are 12 that live on Mount Olympus. We don't practice this now, but there's wisdom in that because they are the archetypes of how the gifts of the universe are given. I've got 6 of them that are the most familiar that I just will reiterate for you. Aphrodite is love. That's the gift that Aphrodite gives is love, and when we accept love and we give love, then Aphrodite lives in us. That's the theory. Artemis is the goddess that's in the woods. She's usually depicted with a bow and arrow and a hound and a stag or something like that. She is about courage because she lives alone. Demeter is about abundance because she is the goddess of the harvest. Apollo, the god of the sun, is also the god of creativity. He is the one that gave all of the wisdom for the arts for civilization. And then we have Athena, who is the goddess of wisdom, and Zeus, who is the god of power. So with those 6, we have love, courage, abundance, creativity, wisdom, and power. And when we live wide open, we accept the gifts of those archetypes, whether we call them gods or goddesses or archetypes. We think about it. We think about how we are receiving those things and how we're giving them back. So the gift that I gave myself coming back from Greece is this wonderful head of Aphrodite, because as much love as I have in my life right now, I want more. And so that's my girl. Aphrodite's my girl. And so when we live wide open with these archetypal gifts, once again, we are an expression of the harmony of the universe. So I have time for a few more stories that somehow, in my recollecting yesterday and today, seem to have something to do with the topic of giving. So we were on this site called Epidaurus on the Peloponnesian Peninsula. And Epidaurus is a massive site with a theater and with the remains of temples, the remains of a lot of statuary. And it was the first hospital. There's this huge, great area that was like it was a dreaming temple, really, because the healing was more shamanistic than medicine, although they had herbs and they had tinctures and healing substances. The healing, really, in Epidaurus was in the dreaming. And they would put people to sleep and say that the god would visit them in the form of a snake, and that the snake would reveal what the healing is for them. So there was this huge area, and of course all of us laid down in it and received this the healing. But the snake, of course, is the first symbol that has come down to us as the coiled snakes around the staff that is the medical profession symbol, the caduceus. So what the lesson is, and it's true today as well, that a lot of healing happens during sleep. That's why you're told to rest when you're sick. You're told to sleep a lot. You're told that your body regenerates during sleep. And in the shamanistic healing, your psyche regenerates during sleep because why? You're not worrying. You're not controlling. You're not resisting. You're not having what Emerson says, your bloated nothingness. You get your bloated nothingness out of the way so that the healing can happen. So to receive the gift of healing, you have to get everything that resists that healing out of the way. So meditate, sleep, release, take this class on letting go of negative emotions, because that's when healing happens, when you just live wide open and you are in the natural harmony of the universe. The next story about giving is about a ritual that I did at Mycenae. Mycenae was the oldest culture that we visited on mainland Greece. And it was before the Greeks, the Mycenaeans, or the story of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, before the Greeks. And so this was a complex where there was a big fortress, and we climbed up to the top, and at the top there was this flat place with this little olive tree. And I had in mind that I was going to do a ceremony for our ancestors, because that was the oldest place we were visiting. And I had a little vial of my mom's ashes. And when I said that, one of the people on the trip was Amanda West, who was a practitioner here, and she had my mom as a teacher. And when she knew that we were going to have a ritual with mom's ashes, she just started weeping. And so all of us started crying at that point. But what happened was people would come up to me one at a time, and I had established where north was. So there's north. So I said, your ancestors are shoulder to shoulder, back through time, and there were enough of them that survived the wars and survived the famines and survived the sickness. They had babies in time so that you could be here. And so what is it that you would like to ask your ancestors? And so they spoke to me individually, and then I put a little bit of mom's ashes on the ground, and I asked them to stand on the ashes. And I said, you're standing on the shoulders of your ancestors that have given you this gift. And so the generosity of the generations that came before us was very evident for people. And then Amanda's husband, Larry Lukoc, said this thing that was so, talk about a divine gift. He said, that is Epidaurus, because my mom's name is Doris, and Epi means on top of. And we were just going to visit Epidaurus, and he said, oh, there's Epidaurus on top of my mom. And it was one of those moments, I mean, you can feel it a little bit, but in the moment it was like, whoa, everything just like vibrated. And that was a divine gift. And we all felt it at once. And then the last story I want to talk about is really the New World. Because when I was over there, I did not get any news. I heard no newscast. But I would go on Facebook every now and then. And on the 26th, there started just a barrage of messages about the Supreme Court defeating the Defense Against Marriage Act. That was the only piece of news that I got when I was in Greece. And the joy that caused in my Facebook group was immense. And so I want to just say that I believe that is a gift of equality for all of us. And that puts us now in harmony with the nature of the universe. And I'm also aware that there might be some people here today that disagree with that really believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. And in this giving moment, because I have disagreed with political things, many, many times I have voted for the person that did not get elected. And what I try to do is to feel into the joy of my friends and intelligent people that voted for the opponent that I did not vote for, and feel into that joy so that I can get out of resentment, so that I don't live in the withhold of life. And so if there is anyone here who is distressed about the Defense of Marriage Act being defeated, in the privacy of your own heart, I would like you to feel into the joy of those of us that have waited for this for many years and are so grateful that we're alive today to see it. And practice that flexibility and that compassion and that oneness that we really all are. So if I had PowerPoint today, and if I had been on top of this PowerPoint, the review is give without expectations, and I'll put this in the letter. Create a habit of generosity of spirit, and be aware of all that is given to you, and replicate that. In conclusion, there's a wonderful saying in Greek, and it's composed of two words. The word for beautiful is oreia, and the word for okay is andaxi. But they have a saying that's those two words together, oreia andaxi, beautiful okay. And what it means is that everything is in harmony, and everything is proceeding perfectly, and there's no need to worry, because everything is exactly as it should be in beauty. And so that's what I wish for you today. Oreia andaxi, the beautiful okay. So let's turn within for the anthem. Thank you. So as we turn within to that sweet place of inner contemplation, I ask us all, as I ask myself, where can I give love? Is there any place in my life where I've been withholding out of unforgiveness or resentment or comparison or laziness? And how is it that I can give love into those places? And where in my life can I give understanding? Where I am staying in my rightness, or in my opinion, or in my position? Where can I maintain my opinion and give understanding? Where in my life can I give assistance? Is there someone that could use some energy or time that I have? And may it be that I recognize that and give it freely. And is there a place where some of my supply or some of my stuff could go that would make someone else happier and their life more enjoyable? May I do that? So that at the end of each day, I am emptied of all that I can give, so that in the sweet replenishment of sleep, I can be filled once again. I give my thanks for this cycle of giving and receiving, and want only more of giving and receiving. And so it is.
The break of dawn, I wake from the dream world. I reach to the sky and open my eyes to the east wind, lifting my wings. I dance for direction, stating my intention. I welcome the day as breath sweeps mind. Breath sweeps mind. Breath sweeps mind. Breath sweeps mind. At the end of day, I give thanks for my good fortune. Smile inside, remembering the fullness of my life. I take a deep breath, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it all go. All thoughts and worry slowly drift away as breath sweeps mind. Breath sweeps mind. Breath sweeps mind. Breath sweeps mind. breath sweeps mine. Breath sweeps mine. Breath sweeps mine. Breath sweeps mine. Whoa, breath sweeps mine. Breath sweeps mine. Breath sweeps mine. Thank you.
So now is the time for our tithes and offerings. So if the ushers would get ready. And I want to remind you to put your request for what you would like more of, what you would like increased in your life. If you don't have a pen, you could even just make a little mark with your fingernail. Whatever works, because I want to make the talks useful. So if you would take your gift in your hands right now and remember everything that we thought about this morning, that living wide open means that you give whatever it is you give with total joy, and not like, I wish I could save this money and buy a hamburger on the way home. You just, or a boat. I wish I could save this money and buy a boat on the way home. Just give it. Give it with abandon. So let's bless it first, if you would, with that offering of supply that the beautiful goddess Demeter reminds us of, that there's always more. There's always more tomatoes. There's always more zucchini. There's always more money. And this money today we give with such joy to this spiritual center that we love, that is the evolution of spiritual thought for 30,000 years. And we are the recipients of all of that wisdom. How blessed we are. And so we give wanting more of that wisdom, that spiritual centeredness. And it comes to us. Practicing now, giving and receiving, wide open. We give, and so it is.
You I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. You I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and this we live.
So I bless this offering here today. I bless the giving hearts that gave it. And I accept for each person here a widening of all of those places that we give and then we receive the blessings of Spirit. And so it is. Amen. So, as the practitioners come forward, I'd like the core council to go over there by the giving tables. The core council is your hosts and hostesses.
The guards.
They're not the guards. They're there.
They're the lions.
The lions, right. They're there to witness your joy in finding your perfect gift for yourself. And so have fun shopping. The price is right this morning. And Joyce is going to pray us out.
So I invite you to take a deep breath and release. In the name of Spirit. For Spirit is with us in every moment, in every day, regardless of what our experience is in that moment. I know Spirit is present. So in this moment, I give thanks. I give thanks for the many, many gifts that are given to us, for this community, for Reverend Karyl, for the wonderful stories and examples. I give thanks for what we have heard of other cultures, and I give thanks of what we have here at home. Our beautiful mountains, our oceans, all the gifts of Spirit that is here to support us, to guide us, to direct us. And in those gifts, surrounded by that love, I call for the release of anything in myself and in every person here and in every person around the world. The release of anything that separates us from that love, from that givingness of Spirit. I call forth forgiveness of anything we hold in our hearts, so that we may heal each and every one of us and everyone around the world. And in that beautiful space of openness created by the release, created by the forgiveness, I call forth love and joy and compassion and celebration for our brothers and sisters who are celebrating in San Francisco today at the Gay Pride Parade and all around the nation, all around the world. I call forth joy and compassion and celebration for every person around the world who stands for freedom, who stands for peace and joy in every heart. And I know this is all possible. It is all present right now. And I give thanks for that. I give thanks in knowing that we all have the capacity to accept Spirit in our heart and to share it everywhere in our lives. So in great gratitude, I release my word to the law of God. And so it is. Amen.
affirmation and closing song. So the affirmation's right up here now. I'll let you get connected. Okay. All of God's good. Okay, we can do this better. Okay. Repeat after me. All of God's good flows through me. I am wide open to accept beauty, love, supply, vibrant life, and inspired ideas. I joyously give all the good away that I can move through my experience, making way for more receiving, and then more giving. And so it is. I